Hey everyone, Jackie here with Enjoying Life's Journey. Welcome back to our channel. So today's video I wanted to share with you a little bit about how we are planning our route. If you are familiar with our channel, we are going to be leaving August 29th, hitting the road full-time in the RV. And if you watch a video about how we are going to be making money or finding work on the road. So if you know, we do have 2 work camping jobs lined up. So basically where we're going to be working is dictating where we are going as far as the destination that we're heading to somewhat, for the rest of the year here. But basically, how are we planning the route in between? And I'm going to let you know basically what resources I'm using online, not only to help me plan my route of where we're going to stay, but most importantly, trying to find free camping that's not Walmart overnight parking. So we have our route planned out for September. Like I said, we're going to be hitting the road August 29th. Our first work camping job starts September 25th is when we need to be there by. So we have that whole route planned out, and basically what we've decided to do is we live in Mesa, Arizona right now, and we decided we wanted to take a whole month, almost a whole month to get there. And that way, because we're in Arizona and our first work camping job is in North Dakota, as well, my mom will be watching our girls just for that month while we do the sugar beet harvest. It could be only 2 weeks or up to a month depending on how long the little season is. But she's in Michigan, so we do need to make sure we get to Michigan first before we head that way. So those are some kind of areas that we knew we had to be. And then a few areas that we knew we wanted to go was we wanted to go visit Ricky's family in California first. His brother is going to be getting married soon, so we wanted to make sure that we spent a week over there with them just in case we're not able to make it back for the wedding. And so we decided also, Ricky has some friends in San Diego, so we thought we would go ahead and start our trip for San Diego, and I wanted to spend some time camping actually on the beach, and then we would go and spend a week with Ricky's brother and his mom up in Lemoore, California. And so that's basically the main areas we knew we wanted to go or we needed to go. Some of the factors that we took into consideration when planning our route, one, the places we needed to be, 2, places we wanted to be, 3, how many miles did we think we would be comfortable with max driving, or how many hours roughly would we want to be driving in one day. We decided about 400 miles would be our absolute max, and we definitely wanted to stay closer to 300 or even less. So we were able to make that happen using some of the resources that I found online. And then as we jump on the map, I'll show you too, but we decided it would be nice to stay in each state, overnight in each state, to get us across the country. So, and then the other one being, we wanted to spend the least amount of money as possible going across the states. Basically, we're going to call this our relocating trip. And we didn't want to always stay at a Walmart or a rest stop. So I found some sites that show you some free camping or cheap camping. So we're going to be able to basically do our whole month of September for roughly about $150 total for our camping. So let's jump on the computer and I'll show you the resources that I'm talking about. Okay, so we're on the computer now and I'm on Google Maps. I prefer working with Google Maps. Basically though, how we planned our route, like I mentioned, we have specific places that we need to go or get to. I didn't show the first part of our trip here. Basically from Arizona, like I said, we're going to San Diego. The way I found our campsites for there is I just Googled RV camping or RV parks on the beach in San Diego, and there's a couple options. I ended up going with the Silver Strand State Beach, and basically as we go through here, the first criteria that I was looking for after that was free camping, and then if I wasn't able to find anything free, then I went to a state park, which usually had a smaller fee. But because I specifically wanted to be on the beach, there was maybe 2 options that had the RV spot really close to the sand or really close to the beach, and this was the cheapest option, basically $50 a night. So we're doing 2 nights there in San Diego, so it came out to $108 for the reservations there. Then we'll be heading up to Lemoore, California to spend a week with Ricky's family, like I mentioned, and we're just going to be boondocking basically on the street in front of his brother's house, possibly just plugging in a very, just the regular extension cord for a little bit of added power, but we'll see how that goes. But basically then planning the route, the rest of the trip, I knew we had to go from California to my mom's house, like I mentioned, in Michigan. So what we did was we picked, Google usually gives you a couple different routes. We picked the route that had the least amount of miles. Also, if you guys watched last year, I had some footage from when my friend and I took all the kids to Michigan, and we took this lower route. So I felt, even though Ricky didn't go with us that time, I wanted to take the upper route anyways, just because I haven't been there before. We've been to Utah once, and I've just been right here to the Four Corners, so I haven't been to any of these other states until you get into like Illinois, Indiana area. So I know I'm kind of going into a lot of random backstory, but that's that. So basically what I did was I pulled it up on the map. Then I found a cool site called Campendium, and you can look for different types of camping. And so like I mentioned, I wanted to specifically look for free camping that wasn't a Walmart parking lot or a rest stop. So I started off free camping in California. And again, I mentioned we didn't want to go over that 400 miles per day. Wouldn't get all the way into Nevada by the time we left California, if that makes any sense. So what I did was I took the map here and I looked at what route we were going, and I looked at this route here, and that's what I started looking at on Campendium. So this is the route we're taking, and right here is the Mojave National Preserve. So again, I wanted to do state parks, preserves, forests, things like that. Or national parks, things like that. So we went ahead and found the Sunrise Rock, and so that's where we're going to be staying that first night. And as I started doing this, I started putting together just a really easy Word document, just documenting all of the places, basically where we're leaving, how many miles to the next stop, and then where we're getting there, and any details as far as if there was any kind of hookups, how much it cost, or anything like that. So basically from our house to San Diego, we're going to be traveling 375 miles. From San Diego to Lemoore, we'll be traveling roughly 330 miles. From Lemoore to the Mojave National Preserve, we'll be doing 324. Then we get a couple shorter days, which will be good. You'll see like when we head into Nevada, we're only going to be doing 142, and then from Nevada over to Utah, we'll only be doing 198, which is nice. So we kind of just planned it out that way. Again, I mentioned that we wanted to stop in each state overnight. So we did, we found a place in Nevada, we found a place in Utah, Colorado. We're actually going to be staying in 2 spots, one on each end of the state, again, because we did not want to go over that. We didn't want to go over 400 miles a day. And then a place in Nebraska, Iowa, and then when we got to Illinois and Indiana, we were not able to find a free camping. So the next best thing was we looked for a state park. So let's say we go to a state park in Indiana, and again, we used the map as a guide off of what route we were taking, and there happened to be a nice little state park right here on Lake Michigan. And I grew up going to Lake Michigan. I'm originally from Michigan. I was born in Detroit. So we moved out to Arizona probably when I was about 7 or 8. I've only been back to Michigan, 3 times since I've lived out here. But I'm super excited to be able to stay on Lake Michigan. So we're going to be staying at the Indiana Dunes State Park. And that one does have a fee for the night. A lot of this information here is from fellow RVers or campers, people who have actually stayed there, so they give a little information about their experience or pictures or things like that. So this campsite's a really good resource. So that's basically how we planned our route, keeping in mind, like I said, we didn't want to go over certain miles a day. We wanted to be able to stay at each state along the route. And basically that is giving us 10 days to get across. So we're going to be spending 2 days in San Diego, a week in Lemoore, and then we're going to take 10 days to get to my mom's. We're going to be spending about a week at my mom's. And then Ricky and I are going to be coming along down here, going through Wisconsin, Minnesota, up to North Dakota, where we'll be working at the sugar beet harvest. So we have somewhat planned that as well. We've planned one free spot that we found in Minnesota or Wisconsin, I don't remember which it was. We wanted to find maybe one more stop. So we would take 2 days, roughly 2 or 3 days to get to North Dakota after we dropped the girls off at my mom's. But basically the goal is to get to North Dakota by September 25th. And then we'll head back down, pick up the girls, and we'll be heading down through Ohio into Kentucky, where we'll finish out the year at our Amazon camper force. Yeah, so that's that's basically how I planned this route. And then, like I said, I've just put it on a piece of paper, so I had a little more detail. What I'm also going to do, because I have all of this things saved in my Google Maps, I'm going to go ahead and print out my Google Maps as well. And then I also have written down the GPS coordinates. So we'll have our GPS, and then we'll also have the physical maps with the directions from Google, just to be on the safe side. But one other website I wanted to show you real briefly is this freecampsites.net. And similar like the Campendium, you can just type in a location, but most of these are focused on free camping, so it may not have all of those other national parks or state parks or things like that categorized. But basically green, I believe, is free. Red means there is a fee, but maybe a small fee. I'm not sure what the little blue thing means. But again, these are written by people that have pretty much gone there. This one does have a trip planner, which is basically kind of like what I'm doing. You can put in your 2 locations and it will show you all of the stuff along the way. And we're going to take our time, and if we that way, if we don't get to a certain place by a certain time, we don't have a reservation to worry about, except for our first night. We are at a reserved spot at the beach park for our first night in San Diego, so we do need to get there that first night. However, everything else is, it's a free overnight camping, first come, first serve. There are a few of the spots that I found that are like a city park, and they have one night free, and they actually do have electric and water, and then they have a dump station. So we have a few of those along the way. That way we basically can kind of boondock, and then we can fill up water and dump at least twice before we get to my mom's house. So hopefully that works out really good for us. Yeah, so sorry if the video was a little all over the place, but basically I just wanted to show you kind of real quick what we were looking for while planning our route and what resources that we utilize. So like I mentioned, we didn't want to go over 400 miles each day, and we wanted to hit every state going across the United States. So basically that first, I would say, repositioning trip is going to be not just basically from here to California to Michigan. Is going to be about 3,089 miles is what we'll be doing that first month. Then it's going to start slowing down, because we'll end up going from Michigan to North Dakota, doing our first work camping job, back to Michigan, and then down to Kentucky to do our second work camping job, and we'll finish out the year there. After that, our plan is that we're going to be able to take a couple months off while we look for a summer seasonal job somewhere down maybe around the Florida area. We do want to look at national parks or something like that. We'll see. And I did a video on how we're finding work, so you can take a look at that. But our goal is, once we finish in Kentucky, we're going to head down to Tennessee. I do have a cousin there. Probably spend a couple days over there, and then we'll head over to North Carolina, where when Ricky first came to the U.S., that's where he lived and went to high school. So we're going to go stay there and maybe see if we can find some of his old stomping grounds and do something fun like that, and then just kind of work our way down the coast to Florida. So we don't have that part of our trip mapped out yet. Again, the main reason we just mapped out this first little bit is because we were traveling so many miles and we did not want to have to pay for campsites every single night. So we wanted to make sure we did that. I'm hoping this video helps you, and stay tuned because as we start getting on the road, we're going to be sharing with you all the free camping that we stayed at. We're going to do some videos on all the places that we stayed at and give you a little more information about each place. And then as well, when we start planning the second half of the leg, I guess you will, we'll just keep you guys updated as we go. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.